Hello buddy, it's Warhammer here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 quick match gameplay. This time around we are on the Dragon Isles, playing as the forces of the Green Tide against the wonderful High Elves. And for this composition, well, we're going to be messing around a little bit and bringing a horde of Black Orcs, led by none other than the best, Grimgor Ironhide, that wonderful lad with that excellent looking axe, good old Gitsnick. Going to be leading the boys in a glorious war against the Poineers. And the composition here, kind of a death ball, and that's about it. Nothing too fancy. I wanted to give Grimgor a shot and bring some kind of underutilized nowadays units to the field a little bit. So going over the composition here, we do have the Crimson Killers escorting Grimgor. These guys did get a buff in the last match. They're now a good bit cheaper at 1450. They're pretty darn cheap for how good they are, and can really wipe through enemy infantry. And while certainly flimsy to massed AP arrow fire, they can dish out a lot of hurt, and they do force your opponent to kind of concentrate on taking them out, and that can allow other units to get a lot of work done. There's two more Black Orc units supporting them, and of course, Black Orcs, they will lose to Swordmasters, they will lose to Phoenix Guard, but against the majority of High Elf forces, they will do rather well, especially once that Wa charges up and starts kicking off. And especially with Grimgor in the fray there as well, providing support with his decent splash attacks, very high weapon strength, and of course, Grimgor can be disrupting a little bit with Bloodforged armor and doing all sorts of hurt with Gitsnick and Get Back here and all those tricks. So definitely a rather solid option there. And Black Orcs kind of have fallen off with the advent of Stone Trolls. They're definitely not nowhere near as common as they once were, but I think the High Elf matchup is one where they can still shine. Their very high armor makes normal archers and leader maneuvers kind of useless. Means they can tank Dragon Princes. And immunity psychology is always good against a faction that brings lots of dragons. Alongside Grimgor, we do have a giant river troll hag, and she is coming in to help snare some of those big flyers and cause damage over time, especially to big enemy cavalry or monsters. She does, of course, have Spirit Leech here, and Spirit Leech, very good at chipping off models on Dragon Princes. If we saw Fireborn, they could do very well, and Fireborn are pretty popular nowadays with the troll spam, so definitely good against them. You've got Life Leeching for the Winds of Magic, Swamp Breath, so if we see a blob of infantry, we can maybe hit them, though it's a pretty terrible missile attack in my opinion, and then Mither to hopefully snare some foes on the ground. And I should mention, she does also have a Noxious Stench, which debuffs enemy melee attack around her, or Overwhelming Odor, sorry, and quite disgusting there, and definitely going to be pretty potent as a support character. Alongside her, there's Goblin Big Boss, and this guy, of course, is coming in with Sneaky Stabbin as well as, sorry, they need Stabbin as well as Slippery, so he's going to be looking to snipe characters, debuff enemy characters. If we see an Imric or an Eltharion, he can do really well against them. Otherwise, helps snare down someone like Alariel, who we're actually seeing here. And besides that, some Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, never a bad choice just because they're cheap and expendable, good for harass and disruption. Some Goblins on the flanks to soak arrows. As you can see, we don't have much in the way of missile play, so we need something to zone away Reavers. 2 units of Nasty Skulkers in the back here to help net down big monsters and keep them trapped in bad situations. These guys can do a lot of hurt, and with Opportunist Murder, they can really dish out pain to anyone unfortunate enough to get caught. And besides that, finally, the Arachnarok Queen, and the big old spider obviously has lost some armor a couple of patches ago now, but has a lot more HP, makes her a bit tankier against units like the Sisters of Avalorn, and with the spider summon, we can hopefully disrupt backlines pretty efficiently. Now for my opponent here, he has gone with Alariel, and she is camping out in the woods over here with a Phoenix, so definitely a pretty nasty core right there. She herself has come in with Banishment as well as Earthblood for the wonderful heals. She's got both Shield of Sapphire and Life Bloom for those passives. The Boon of Isha to grant Immunity Psychology. Not sure it's really worth it against Greenskins, to be honest. They don't tend to rely on Fear and Terror that much. The Star of Avalorn and the Stave of Avalorn, you don't see this one much either, though it does help get more Winds of Magic. Star of Avalorn, of course, very potent. I'm a little surprised we're not seeing Faust Protection, but we'll see if we get any juicy banishments. And L'Oreal, of course, not too much of a pushover. Alongside her, the Flamespire Phoenixes, their fire damage means even with the magic damage debuff, they would do well against, say, Trolls. And if they can get any of my troops to blob up on them, then the banishment could punish them pretty badly. Frontline mix of Silvern Guard as well as Spearmen looking to soak the charges. Some Lothran Sea Guard behind them alongside Sister of Avalorn already opening fire on the poor Crimson Killers who are just going to have a terrible time here. Now as you can see, I'm actually diving the Goblins into the front line, and the reason is to debrace the Silvern Guard. These guys do have charge defense against all, And so I don't want them soaking the charge from the Crimson Killers. I want them to get that full meaty 29 charge bonus in against those filthy elves. White Lions in the back here, so clever maneuver from my opponent there, keeping them in reserve to countercharge any Black Orcs. And finally Bolt Thrower, which doesn't have too much to shoot at, to be quite honest, though. We are seeing it chip away at the Troll Hag there. Now the poor Crimson Killers here not having a good time. They are going to charge in on top of the Goblins, but getting blocked up by the Goblins. So my plan kind of backfired. The Silvern Guard has been debraced. Crimson Killers can do some hurt. In the meantime, the Arachnoid Queen pushing forward, looking to support, and already casting a summon of those Spiderlings, and looking to shut down these Sisters. Because if I can get the Sisters offline, there isn't too much here left to threaten the Arachnoid Queen. Grimgor in the meantime plowing into the front line, but a nasty Earthblood and Star of Avalorn keeping the Silverins in the fray, and big misplay here with the Troll Hag pushing her into the fight and getting her in an ugly position. Here she's getting jabbed from all sides by spears, taking bolt thrower fire, and soon going to be taking archery fire. Those Lothran Seaguard and soon to be repositioned Sisters are not going to let her up. Now over here, the Goblin Big Boss, obviously Wah has gone off. We are trying to chew through the front line though. Crimson Killers routing, letting down their lord here. Grimgor definitely disappointed in his lads, but chopping down these Elf Grots by himself if he needs to. While over here, Nasty Skulkers trying to save the Troll Hag and failing. My opponent just piling through with the Flamespire Phoenix. Mither, Smoke Bomb, just not enough to save her. And she's going to be terror routed and flee the field. So, bit of a disaster there. My magic's all gone, and I barely used any. I do believe I'd only casted 2 Spirit Leeches at this point, which is kind of sad. And of course, Nasty Skulkers, with their excellent leadership of 40, didn't last long either. However, the Death Ball continues plying forward. The White Lions of Krace here kind of getting overwhelmed by the Arachnoid Queen, who's not terrible against them. Another banishment going down over here on the poor Black Orcs, and definitely not ideal for us. Plowing through some of the Elven Spears, though, and doing damage to them as well, so definitely showing the perils of using that spell. Grimgor, though, not giving up. 27 kills, getting shot by a Bolt Thrower, but he doesn't give a crap. He will chop down as many elves as he needs to. And big misplay here on my opponent's part, I think. Keeping a Lariel this close, I do believe means Grimgor is actually going to be getting the benefits of the best of the best, which grants him some damage resist, and when that stacks on his missile resist, he's actually pretty tanky against bolt thrower fire. So that's definitely hurting my opponent's chances here. Beautiful shotgun shooting here from the Sisters, and they just, on guard mode, they just don't care about the spider hatchlings. They just keep shooting because guard mode's great in this game. It's a really strong ability, really, and just disgustingly powerful against a unit like the Queen here when we're not able to disrupt the Sisters. So we're going to throw the big boss in there, looking to disrupt them. He's hopefully able to whittle them down, while Grimgor over here takes no nonsense from the Flamespire Phoenix and routs him, though. The Phoenix does get a beautiful heal there, regaining 2600 HP instantly. Elsewhere in the meantime, this Phoenix here routing off some of our cavalry there, definitely a bit frustrating, but the Nasty Skulkers overwhelming the main line, while the Black Orcs with a Wah chewing through the spears, and the White Lions just not giving a crap at all and winning. Over here, the Arachnoid Queen continues to dumpster the Sisters of Avalorn, and this isn't ideal for her, definitely not the ideal target. If we can whittle down the Sisters of Avalorn, it's going to be a big win for us. These are really one of the biggest threats left to my troops. If they stay alive, they're going to take down the Arachnoid Queen, they'll take down potentially Grimgor, and that's going to be game, because at that point Lariel or the Phoenix can take on everyone. So we really got to shut these ladies down. Now, we do see the Phoenixes diving in, trying to take down our leadership, and that's definitely not ideal. Lariel's far away, so we're actually not getting the benefit of the best, but Grimgor doesn't give a darn, and he's going to go in, axe swinging, gets Nyx ready for some Phoenix blood, and he does have the support there of the Goblin Big Boss. And so we're actually able to stay in there. The Spider is diving in, using its anti-large to help, and the Phoenixes are getting torn apart. Just look at how fast these big birds get chopped to bits. The Phoenix here drops below HP and actually instantly dies. There's brutal stuff there. Grimgor taking no prisoners. And this Flamespire Phoenix has already hit its heal cap, so just a few swings and it's a goner, showing the perils of trying to dive Grimgor. Don't mess around. So instantly, this battle has gone from kind of out of our favor to suddenly very much in our favor. With a few fell swings of Gitsnik, Grimgor has brought the Green Tide back into this game and definitely put us in a strong spot. Black Orcs over here chewing their way through the White Lions. Now, White Lions normally do okay against Black Orcs. Not amazing, but they can do some damage. But right now, crippled like this, with the Star of Avalorn going out, and 2 Black Orc units in there, so this basically, this is like 90 models, or there's some goblins, sorry. But 30 models of Black Orcs there on top of goblins will do some hurt, definitely. Nasty Skulkers here chewing through the Lothran Seaguard. In the meantime, the rallying Green Tide just coming back in. Wolf Rider archers coming in to sweep up the Eagle Claws, showing just how useful it is to have, even as a trash cav like this with terrible stats overall, they can still do good work mopping up units like artillery crews. Here in the pits, the sisters just tanking through everything. Summons, Ragnarok Queen, Grimgor, literally everything just dominating them. Spider Hatchlings in there. Queen is wavering. Just look at the leadership here. And damage sustained 74, and she's really wavering here. Getting kept in the fight there. I'm trying to keep her at all costs, get back here being used to just keep the Ragnarok Queen from routing, but she's definitely wavering on the edge. Actually not taking damage right now, but just due to the damage sustained, really on the fence and about to rout. Despite the fact that all she's doing is fighting Sister of Avalorn, we're actually winning here. But it says only slightly, despite the fact that Grimgor's chopping him down, and Ragnarok Queen's going to rout here. And I do believe it's actually not helped by the Spider Hatchlings, who are not expendable, and cause that rout there. Nasty Skulkers in the meantime do pile in against the Lothran Seaguard, just keeping these mobile troops in a trap and just keeping them pinned to the ground here. Lothran Seaguard getting wrecked. So is Alariel. 1900 HP is not much of a defense, and at this point it's definitely GG for the Greenskins. It's just a matter of cleanup over here. We're using some Wolf Riders to chop down these white lines. Alariel getting snared. Arcane Conduit popped, but really it's not going to save you against angry Gobos shanking you in the back. And as the Sisters of Avalorn fall in the background, Alariel here trying to take off with the Pigeon, and it's going to be a GG as the Greenskins just overwhelm the High Elves and kind of tank through everything. Grimgor's left very much standing, very angry, very grumpy as usual, and ready to rejoice at this glorious law of a victory. Some White Lions here rushing back in the fight, feeling just a little winded. Not really surprising. Like if you're hustling along like this in a desert, then with these cloaks, probably not the brightest choice of gear for terrain like this, but you know, who am I to judge? Alariel here getting pinned to the ground, kind of trapped. She did use an Earthblood to heal herself, but she's now trapped to the ground. Support coming in. We do actually hit her with a They Need Stabbing, which debuffs her armor to nothing, debuffs her melee defense to 16, at which point even trash units can do damage. And with the Goblin Big Boss in there, she really, really cannot take off. And she's going to be dead. So it's going to be GG. And a Pyrrhic victory for the Green Tide. So, a bit of an atrocious fight for sure. Certainly there was a little bit of RNG involved, I would say. My opponent did get one of his Flamespire procs, which almost saved him the game, but the other one did not proc. And that's always a 50-50. In this game, it actually kind of balanced out, but sometimes you will get those games where you get both procs, or you might not get either proc, in which case my opponent's army here would have been collapsed much sooner. The second proc might have actually saved it, because having a Phoenix round kicking in that late game when the Queen was gone and all that was left was Grimgor and the Goblin Big Boss, that could have been enough, definitely showing how those RNG effects can kind of mess things up a little bit. For my build, it wasn't necessarily the most try-hard of things, but I do think Black Orcs are still very potent against High Elves. You can see the value generated here, as long as we don't look at the Crimson Killers, was it rather high, 950, 1394. And keep in mind, normally you're not expecting a unit to pay for itself, because army losses is suffered. Your opponent's troops rout off the battlefield. You're never going to be wiping out that many troops. So the fact that they actually paid for themselves here basically was pretty impressive. Nasty Skulkers doing amazing work as always. As long as they stay in a fight, these guys are just insane. Over 1,000 value. Just dicing units like Lothran Seaguard and White Lions and Phoenixes. Just excellent work. Goblins surprisingly did well. Gaining some value there. Definitely not paying for themselves, but doing okay. Death Hag got some Spirit Leech damage in. Big Boss and Grimgor, of course, just dicing Elves left and right. And the Ragnarok Queen also generating some worth. Same with the Wolf Riders, actually. Look at that. Less than 400 gold for this unit, and they generated almost 1,200. So, obviously, these statistics aren't always the most reliable. If you just chase a unit off the map, or just holding and just taking damage matters too, but still cool to see. For my opponent here, Nick Clay, a bit of an interesting build. My main critique, personally, would be the use of Alariel with the Stave of Avalorn, and I don't think Banishment is really worth it, to be honest. I think you're often going to see these troll builds, and for those, Banishment's not going to help. I think Frost Protection is much better. I also do think that it could be worthwhile just running a more kitey build. Obviously, the Sisters here generated insane value, close to 2,400 of it, just fighting in melee against summons, fighting in melee against the Queen, shooting the Queen down to probably by about 5,000 HP. It was really insane. Lothran Seaguard also generating some insane value there. And the Bolt Thrower, 1,300. So the missiles paid for themselves many times over, but the Phoenixes just did not perform. The Archers did not perform. or sorry, the Sylvan Guard and the Spears just did not perform. They just couldn't dish out enough hurt to put a stop to all of this great weapon play. And Ilariel also just didn't contribute that much. With a Death Ball like this, she can't really pick these isolated engagements because most of the army's all together. So once the Death Hag was removed, she couldn't really dive into a fight. She was buffing Grimgor when she was near him. And so my opponent kind of had a Lord that just floated around and did very little. And I think that's a little bit of a mistake there. And when a game comes down to this close of a fight, I think that doesn't matter. But regardless, well played to Nick here. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. As usual, leave your thoughts, opinions, comments, and critiques down below. I'll do my best to respond as soon as I can. I do thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one. Wyvern out.